Hey, what's happening, everybody? Let's just hold off here for a minute and allow some people to enter the stream before we get going on today's video. As you can see in the title, I wanted to discuss vanishing planes and jumping timelines. And get your guys' feedback as to if you are experiencing anything similar to what I've been experiencing. Today is August 31st, 2025. I'm out here in my backyard food forest. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I put my phone on a tripod today so I don't have to hold it. Let me know if everything's coming through okay, the video, the audio. Hello, sunshine. So yeah, I'm going to jump into it, but I'll just say hello to everybody first as you enter into the stream. Krunul, how you doing, brother? I'm doing great. How you doing? Daryl Pass looks good. Thank you very much. Jennifer gave me the thumbs up for audio and video looking good. That's wonderful. Hello, Christina. Proof Garden's working well. Was just listening to some rad music. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Hopefully you're having some good weather where you're at. We got some hot weather today. It's actually really nice though. Krunol says, I'm good from India, listening to you at 2:30 a.m. Well, thanks for being here all the way from India. Wow. M says, hey, Dan, hello to you, child of Yahweh. Looks nice there in Cali. It is. It's a really nice day. I will just jump into what I wanted to talk about today. I was up early and was out and about in my neighborhood, strolling around the neighborhood. And it happened again, my friends. The vanishing plane incident that I've spoke of before, it happened again. Twice. So I was in my neighborhood, and what caught my eye was there was an airplane up in the sky, and it was reflecting the sunshine. So it caught my eye. I wasn't necessarily looking up at the sky, I was looking up ahead. There was a bright flash with the sun hitting this aircraft. I could see the shape of the airplane. Everything was up pretty high. And within an instant, it vanished. Now, I had my sunglasses on, clear skies, and I'm sitting there looking up, and I'm going, you got to be kidding me. I'm looking everywhere. There's nothing blocking my view. There's no trees. There's nothing in the way. Gone. Now, this makes somewhere around 10 times or so where I've witnessed this. Anyways, I continued my trot around the neighborhood, and literally about 5 minutes later, on the same street, once again, I see an aircraft. It catches my eye. It's shining with the sun, and I look up in it, and it just vanishes once again. This time it was practically right above me, and I sat there again, stood there, just looking up every possible direction for several minutes, and it's gone. I also had an instance last night, and I caught it on film. If you guys are interested in seeing it, I'll go ahead and upload it, but it could still be looked at as inconclusive, but you had to really be there to experience it. But I'll tell you what it was. It was around, I think, about 10 p.m. I was doing some sky watching, had my camera set up, and over in the distance, there's this bright light. And when I saw it, I said, that could be, an airplane or something coming directly towards me with a bright headlight on. But I'm not hearing anything, and it's just basically sitting in one position. All of a sudden, it turns into a helicopter. There's red and green lights, and it starts taking off in a side direction. So it's not even facing me anymore, and it just takes off quickly. So this has been happening more and more in my experience. I did capture the helicopter incident last night. Haven't reviewed the footage yet, but I had the camera right on it. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know. Suddenly, says Child of Yahweh. Suddenly, yes. Just goes from a bright light to all of a sudden becoming a chopper, a loud chopper with red and green lights, and just takes off. I'm just going to read some of the comments as I'm telling you guys about my experiences as of late. Olivia Hodges, I totally believe you because I had an orb hover 10 feet above my head in 2018. UFO maybe? Well, absolutely. I mean, what I'm seeing with these aircraft vanishing in front of me, there's always that possibility that the military is involved, right? But a lot of this has to do with your discernment, your vibration, what else is happening in your life that helps you to come to the conclusions that you do come to. And so my conclusion in this instance is that it's absolutely something that is non-human. Cloaking. Daryl Pass says, there are more things in heaven and earth. Chat's moving a little quick, but I'm going to try to read some of the comments coming in. Proof Gardens, you look like my honey, kind of, from Cali. Or my homie, sorry. Olivia Hodges says, I saw inside the orb. It had two balls of fire inside that turned towards each other. As they turned, the orb brightened over me. When you start to see things like this, it really changes your perspective on the entire reality you find yourself in, right? And we can try to share these experiences with others who aren't having these experiences, but until they have an experience of their own, they're often going to reflect back on their worldly view and try to make sense of things. It's understandable. I know if I hadn't had any of these experiences and I was just hearing it from others, I'd probably be skeptical as well. Child of Yahweh says, also those orbs are flashing like Christmas lights every single night, no matter the location I'm in. I get flashes all the time. Confirmation flashes is what I call them, because they always appear in the exact location in which I'm looking at a precise moment usually. And sometimes it's just one big like camera flash. Other times it's a big flash followed by several subsequent flashes as it kind of moves around in odd patterns. But I get those pretty much every single night that I'm out sky watching. Hector Flores, the evil bringing dew point down quickly. Next week, peace. Love, brother. The evil bringing dew point down. Not quite sure what you mean by that. Krunel, Child of Yahweh, those orbs. Sorry, chat's going by a little quick here. Greg Ellis, I've seen airplanes disappear also. Olivia Hodges, I see those are considered UFOs and not orbs. I see those all the time. So something else I wanted to talk about in this stream is I honestly feel today there was a jump in timeline. There was something that shifted. And I come to that conclusion mainly based upon the internet and the feeling that I have, but also the last couple nights and throughout the day I've been taking a lot of naps and I've been falling into these very realistic dreams where I remember every single detail. And they've been quite odd dreams, honestly. But with a lot of different things showing up within them that could be looked at as symbolic or have deeper meaning to them. I'm not going to go into the details of the dreams because they're just a little too weird. But the combination of the dreams I've been having, the aircraft disappearing, and the overall feeling that I was having today, it just came to my mind. It's like something shifted, something changed in the timeline. I do still believe that we are on the positive timeline. Now, for those who may be lost in what I'm talking about here, there's a lot of different things that could cause this. So if you do believe in the possibility of time travel, going either into the past or into the future, little things could be shifted or changed that could create a slightly deviation in the current timeline that we're on. And I feel like something has happened in the last couple days. It's just, like I said, it's a feeling that I have, and I'm wondering if any of you guys are having that same feeling or experience. The dog man says, yeah, it looks like you felt like you shifted into a... Okay, I'm not even going to read that. We got some children in the stream. This is for adults only. Proof Garden, read what you want. Daryl Pass, nothing is impossible. And Krunal, you can awaken your inner strength. Kundalini Yoga. Everybody's going to have their own path in this awakening process. And the key, honestly, is going to be how you vibrate. If you are of the lower vibrational frequency, if your heart is full of hate, if you are constantly mocking and ridiculing others that are sharing their experiences, then you're going to be stuck in that 3D reality. You're going to continue to live in the matrix that surrounds you because you're taking active part in the reality that you're experiencing. Can you get rid of Dogman? No, let him stay. Everybody's welcome in the stream. Say what you want as you please. I think it's important that we allow everybody to speak and use your discernment as to which ones are actually being authentic or which ones are actually just here to cause problems. You got to carry that over into every aspect of what you're viewing online these days, unfortunately. But I'll just skip reading any of that person's comments. Proof Garden says, if your love is there, you may have a better detector for the discerning. 100%. Are any of you guys, as of late, having any interesting dreams or experiences in your awakened state that you can identify with some of what I'm talking about? That's what I'm most curious to hear from you guys. Child of Yahweh, put your faith in God. Look what is going on in India. Flooda. Floods, yes. Krunal says, my late father came in a dream. Bill Kessler, so what is this stream about? Stay tuned, Bill. Take part. Ask any question you want, share whatever you want. This is just a freestyle flow. There's no agenda. There's nothing in particular other than I wanted to share the disappearing aircraft and the dreams I'm having and the intuitive feeling I'm having as far as the timeline shifting. So I talked about time travel being a possible reason for timeline jumps, timeline shifts. And I think there's also a technology, Project Looking Glass, that's also being utilized to see into the future, see where we're headed. And then little tweaks, little things are being adjusted to keep us on that positive timeline. JP Base Senior, did someone turn a lizard loose in here? I think JP and the Dogman should start their own channels and build their communities if they're able to, and discuss whatever low vibration things they want to discuss. You're better suited in that situation than you are here. Angel Dreams, greeting from Northern Cali as well. Greetings to you. So I've been posting some shorts lately, trying to awaken the sleepers mainly. Sometimes I lose my passion for trying to awaken others. just thinking, you know what, acceptance is part of this whole ascension process as well. You have to accept where the collective is as a whole and understand that there has definitely been a split that has taken place over the course of the last few years. The split is those that are awakening versus those that are staying in that lower dimension, that lower vibrational frequency. Everyone chooses the path that they want to be on, and your choice is going to reflect in the reality you find yourself. No, Bill, no dreams about planes disappearing. This was actually a real witnessed event on several occasions, but today it happened twice. Linda Evans, geomagnetic solar storm incoming. Angel dreams. My dreams have felt so real lately. Also, I've been exhausted lately. Yeah, so like I was saying, the last couple nights and during the day, I had a couple naps, and it was like I fall into the REM sleep almost immediately, and I have these very vivid dreams where I wake up, I remember every single detail, interesting details. I'll tell you one of the good parts of the dream I had this morning before I woke up. I was back in my youth, and I was playing Little League Baseball, and I hit a home run. That was pretty cool. Child of Yahweh, don't be fooled, and do not accept it when AI gets used for the mark. Proof gardens, just like that, huh? They're just dreams. Well, I've had many dreams throughout my life that turned out to be premonitions or visions of things to come. So, however you look at the dream state, however your experience has been, may be different from mine. But I don't look at every single dream that I've ever had as being prophetic or showing me something. Sometimes they're just strange. They can oftentimes carry symbolism, and I will sometimes look up what a possible meaning may be if I'm having a hard time deciphering it for myself. Jennifer Norrish, how do I find my inner light, and how can I learn what I need to know these kind of questions? Well, it's going to be different for everybody. But the key is the foundation is always going to be a strong connection to God, and how you pray to God. For example, one of the reasons I believe that I know for a fact it has an impact on my dream state. Oftentimes before I go to bed, I'll ask the Lord that He give me prophetic visions or insights or experiences, and that I can retain that information and those images when I awaken. And then I also ask if it's something that I should share, please put that on my heart. So that's just one example of connecting with God and having an experience. After that, pretty much every single time I say that prayer before I go to bed, I have very intense dreams. Proof Gardens, just something to think about with the dreams. Sorry, that one went by a little fast. Something about Christ. Maybe you can write that again. Bill Kessler, do you have flight numbers or tail numbers of the two that disappeared? I want to look into it. No. I was out and about in my neighborhood, and it was like in an instant that it happened. Krunel says, I'm Hindu and I don't believe in Jesus Christ. Sorry. That's your prerogative, Krunel. Nobody's telling you what to believe in. Angel dreams, we all need to take good care of ourselves, respect ourselves. JP Base Senior, so you want to be a prophet? I don't think anybody wants to be a prophet. I think some people are called for certain positions in this lifetime, And some people are too afraid to step into that position when they're called on that. If you think sharing, putting your neck out there, sharing deeper truths or wisdoms or experiences that you have online is easy or is a fun experience, you should try it for yourself. Mary M., do you remember a long time ago when you stood in your yard at night shaking a large cross at the sky against the demons? Well, you kind of created the storyline behind it. I never said what I was doing. So you came to those conclusions on your own. Daryl Pass, Jesus is the only way. Child of Yahweh, please believe in Yahweh and his son. All right, so we got a lot of I'm all about spirituality, connecting with God and Jesus Christ, of course. But when folks come into the chat, or when all they do is share very strongly their opinions on things, and they speak in the religious tense, I tend to glaze over a lot of that. You guys, there's so much about this existence, about this world, that you have been misled on. The journey and lessons on earth are for self. We cannot save anyone but ourselves. So how's everybody doing? Why don't you drop in the chat where you're watching from? Looking for some comments from maybe some other viewers. Baton Rouge, Daryl? Maurice from Western Pennsylvania. What's the weather like in Pennsylvania right now? Linus says, I saw clouds glitching back and forth during high winds. The Ehol skies clouds would pause, go backwards, pause again, and then start moving again. Agatha says, greetings and happy harvest season. We've been doing plenty of harvesting here. We're getting just tons of eggplants and tomatoes at the moment, but we've been harvesting pears, and we got through all the different stone fruit and plums that were coming on. We got plenty of greens. Longevity spinach is a good one this time of year in the heat of the summer. So how many of you watching this stream are into gardening yourselves? Or were you introduced to this channel through other means, other videos? What about your pineapple guava? My main pineapple guava is doing great. There's lots of fruit setting on it, but it doesn't ripen up until much later in the season, December, January. Brett Green, love the footage of your night sky up there. Thank you. Thanks, Brett. Chili Billy Bear says, love my garden and cooking fresh. Nothing like it, right? No comparison. Sammy's from Old Smart, Florida. Linus loves your gardening tips and these important videos as well. Thank you, Linus. I may just go on a gardening run with video uploads for a while. Just kind of mellow out the channel a little bit. Proof Gardens, mulching, got the winter stuff I got to plant. TETs, hi from Ireland. Had a job years ago cutting grass for the elderly and single parents. That's cool. I've often thought about starting my own landscape company. I like being out in nature. I like beautifying landscapes. And I like the independence of being my own boss, working either by myself or with a small group of individuals. A lot of people, like you mentioned, the elderly, single mothers, that sort of thing, could really use the help as well. If you're able to donate a portion of your time or offer a discount, those are all good karmatic things. Jay Ferris, didn't know anything about gardening, started 5 years ago. It's been a struggle, but learning a lot. That's it, Jay. There is no failures in gardening, only learning experiences. Proof Gardens, using all my grass clippings for my beds, works wonderful. One thing that I've been doing that works really good is basically creating compost piles around the base of my fruit trees. Just green stuff, from the kitchen when I'm juicing. I do a lot of juicing throughout the summer months, watermelon, pineapple, that sort of thing. Creates a lot of pulp when you're doing it on a regular basis. As a result, I had plenty of honeydew melons pop up from some of the seeds in the compost, and we're harvesting those now. So we harvested a honeydew yesterday. It wasn't that big, but oh my goodness, it smelled like the best perfume you've ever smelt. It's just a volunteer from store-bought honeydew. Darrell Pass, as you mentioned before, has an edible landscape model with approximately 50 fruit trees, vines, and brushes. Sounds like a food forest. How big is your area that you're growing in, the land? D-Town Queen Bee says, yes, helping others builds good karma. It does, and I do believe, though, that we shouldn't necessarily do good deeds trying to improve our karma or create good luck. We should do it just out of the love of our hearts, unselfishly, and not expecting anything in return. A little less than a quarter acre. Wow, so you got it packed in there then. Amazing, Darrell. What are you harvesting right now? D-Town Queen Bee, exactly, helping from the heart. I mean, what people don't realize oftentimes who haven't engaged in just, going out and helping a stranger, let's say, is that in itself is such a reward. The good feeling that you get when you do a good deed or you help somebody in need. That's the gift. Michael Kennedy, something very strange happened to me tonight. Care to share more, Michael? Darrell Pass, nothing at the moment, waiting on persimmons. Yeah, I've got a Fuyu persimmon just loaded with fruit right now. They're all still a little on the small side. The persimmon tree is a slow grower. I believe my persimmon tree with all the fruit on it right now is 6 years old, and it still looks like a young tree, but there's well over 100 fruits on it this year. Plant Gardens, did you ever see the show V Dan? Is that the name of the show, V Dan? D-Town Queen Bee, do you grow lemons? Yep, got an abundant lemon tree. Right now, most of the fruit are green. I think we got our last ripe lemon maybe a week ago. There's still a couple hidden in the tree, but there's probably about 200 green lemons developing on it now. TETs, I also cut grass in chapel ground and graveyards and loved it. How did you come about with those jobs? V is the show, miss the comma above. I've never heard of that. I mean, the most interesting show going on right now is the reality we find ourselves in. Michael Kennedy, regarding timeline. Well, I was talking about that earlier. I don't know if you were here when the stream first started, that I'm feeling a timeline shift. Something has shifted. And for me, it's just adding a little bit more strangeness to everything that's happening right now. V was a show with reptiles. Yep, I don't know about that show. Olivia says supposedly that peace deal from Israel went through. Well, I don't really pay attention to what's currently being shown to us, because just about everything you're being shown has already happened. It's a slow rollout because the awakening process is just too shocking for the normies. So things have to roll out in a certain way in order to keep the peace, keep the sanity, but just about everything has already been done. Proof Gardens, definitely a show from the 80s you may want to check out. Olivia Hodges, it's a Bible prophecy. D-Town, I do not own a television. I read a lot. We haven't had cable for 10 years. I've never had Netflix, other than when it very first came out. You used to get DVDs in the mail. That was a long time ago. So, and I was a lot younger person at that time, but I don't watch Netflix. I haven't been to the theater but maybe once in the last decade. So yeah, I'm with you there. And I don't do a whole lot of sit-down reading. A lot of research on things that I'm interested in, and a lot of audiobooks as well. Some reading. Japan says they don't make movies like they used to. That's right. You guys, someday I'll show you my studio where I've made some videos in there. And I've got an enormous collection of VHS and cassette tapes. Just about everything is from the 80s, back when they made real movies on location. None of this green screen stuff going on now. So yes, I miss the 80s, to be honest. Where are you from? I'm from California. Moved here when I was 2 years old. Also something that's been happening lately is I've been having a recall, just thinking about certain instances throughout my youth. A lot of these things that have been coming to my mind are things that bring a bit of joy, just remembering. And I was thinking it would be cool to kind of make like a kid's storybook or something and turn some of these stories into kind of like an inspirational type children's book or something like that. I don't know. But I'll tell you one story that's been coming to my mind a lot lately. I don't know why. Hello, big tiger. When I was like, I don't know if you guys saw that image that I posted of myself. I was like 6 years old in this photo. When I was about 6 years old, I used to take the school bus to school, and it would drop me off around the corner a couple blocks away. I'd walk home. And on this particular day, I was walking home, and two kids jump out of a bush, and one of them's got like a big stick in his hand, and they're telling me I can't pass. And I looked at them, I said, come on, get out of my way. And they got more aggressive. They had, anger in their eyes. No, you can't pass. So I kicked the stick out of this kid's hand, and it went twirling up into the sky. And I caught it perfect, like you would see in a movie. And both the kids look at me, and their eyes just get big and wide, and they start screaming, ah! And they ran away. But I used to come home every day in those early years, I'd sit on the recliner, eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and my favorite shows were Leave It to Beaver and Griffith Show. Japan says, Olivia Hodges, the simple truth is there's no good reason to believe. Some bantering going back and forth here. Proof Gardens, always catching it perfect. Daryl says 80s was the best decade. 70s was pretty good too. But yeah, I was an 80s child. We had good movies, we had good music. There was no internet. There was no cell phones. People were out living life, experiencing life. It was slower in general. There was more community. Now everybody, for the most part, I hate to say it, but they're just stuck looking at their cell phones and they're entranced. But even though on the outside the 80s appeared to be a great time, there was still a lot of things happening in the background that weren't so great. But what I mainly miss about it was the slower pace of things, before the internet. Just people, as kids, we go out and play, ride our bikes, and create games and that sort of thing. You hardly ever see that anymore. Proof Gardens Breakfast Club. I've got all of the movies from the 80s on VHS, all of them. I had a Rasputin's near my place, and they were, at one point, they had tons and tons of VHS coming into stock, and they were selling them for like a quarter a piece. Then the ones I wasn't able to pick up there, that I really wanted to add to the collection, I got online on eBay. So I got shelves all built along the walls, and it's really like a piece of art to me, all the different VHS tapes. And literally thousands of cassette tapes as well. Sultan, do you watch Bollywood movies? Nope. Even out of my 80s collection, I hardly ever watch them. What I was watching recently was the TV series Highway to Heaven, which is a great series. You can find it for free on YouTube. So I also loved the television back then. Incredible Hulk was one of my favorites. Of course, Dukes of Hazzard. Have you ever seen the movie They Live? Oh yeah. A lot of these movies were foretelling, weren't they? Michael Landon. Yep. Amazing human being. So what do you guys do in your free time, other than maybe gardening? Are you still watching TV, Netflix? Like, what is it that you guys like to do? Or have you had enough of all that? No TV, my television is in storage. Jay Ferris, Love on Family. Good for you. Spend some time with the family. Proof Gardens, what we're doing is the same thing, Dan. We're dealing with some of this clown world stuff. I find it entertaining. I mean, even a lot of the truthers, if you want to call them that, out there that report on things, they speak on things without the full knowledge of the movie. So, again, discernment. The one thing I really don't like is the fear-based headlines. Everything is breaking news. Everything is urgent. This is happening. This is what's going to happen next. It's all BS. I also recently went to a music concert, and haven't been to a concert in probably almost 30 years. And I was taken back. It was like a satanic vibration over this whole thing. I kid you not. And this was good artists from the 80s that were playing. From the moment we arrived in the parking area, like immediately, one of the parking attendants is acting very condescending and childish, and it was just a weird vibe. Park the car, we get in, and I'm just kind of feeling all this energy. And without going into too much detail, it was just like I could pick up on the energy of a group, of a scene, and I just was not feeling like I was in my zone there. One thing I found very strange as well is they're selling canned water, and the brand of the company is called Liquid Death, and it's canned water. And people are buying this stuff and guzzling it back. I'm not touching that. Calling it Liquid Death? Like, strange world sometimes. Strange. Well, I mean, water has memory. You know that. So whatever it is that I mean, I'll go as far as to write messages on my mason jars that I put my distilled water in that are of the positive vibration. But to actually have water in a container and on the outside it says liquid death, and that's the sponsored water that's being sold at this concert. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it actually makes total sense. It's when you go down that path, it seems that let's see, if you're more of a sellout person, so if you want to just go with the flow, you'll be falsely lifted up, right? If you are putting out that negative vibration, you're falsely lifted up in this false reality matrix. When you start telling the truth, or when you start living in alignment with your higher self, in awakening, then the system wants to try to hold you down, press you down. But you just got to stay strong and keep going. Keep that connection to God strong. But it was amazing how many people I saw happily drinking their liquid death water at this concert without giving it a second thought. Patty Lyons, all right, thank you on my glass of water and the condensation with my finger. Invisible Intuitive, are you sure it was just water? Yeah, you can look it up. You can look up the company. The guy's a billionaire now. Oh, but maybe you're saying, am I sure that that's all that was in? No, of course not. More than likely, it's just water. But when you put a message like that on the outside, it's changing the structure of the water vibrationally. W, just got here and a new subscriber. Hey, thanks for being here. Have you seen any of my other content, or did this live just pop up in your feed? How did it work? How did you find my channel? I'm curious to know. Proof Gardens, YouTube giving the business. So what would you guys like to see moving forward on this channel? Obviously, it's been very random. But I am interested to know, as far as the people that are here watching this live right now, I consider you more of the close-knit community that's supporting my work, what I do, and is accepting of my many different shares. But is there anything particular? Is it the sky videos? Is it the gardening videos? Is it the talks? Is it the shorts and things that I put out to try to awaken people? Is it everything? I'm interested to know. Daryl Pass, it's been so long, I can't remember. Around 2019, I think he's talking to someone else. Sky videos. Says D-Town Queen Bee. I could record sky videos every single night. And every single night that I'm out here and I'm in the zone, paying attention, in that meditative state, things continually show up in abundance. I'm still fascinated by it every time it happens, even though it's been going on for a long time. Peter says, my interest in gardening, my awakening started in 2017 after my father transitioned. Oh, wow. 5 Dragonflies. Dan, do you still have your night vision camera? Are you talking about the original night vision videos? For those of you that are new, I was taking videos in the backyard with a night vision camera. Many of those videos got over 5 million views. Big Tiger Rumble. Are you suggesting I head over to Rumble? I don't see a reason. Rumble to me is still kind of an annoying platform to deal with, the way the ads roll and things like that. And it's also more of an echo chamber. It's definitely got more of a conservative base there. I want my share to be with all types. YouTube, there's certain things about YouTube that are improving. I mean, they're a lot less strict. They're a lot less overwhelming. And honestly, I truly do believe that the white hats are in control of YouTube. They're holding back information. They're slowing the roll of some of this truth from spreading too quickly, which is unfortunate, because I'm all about the organic growth. That which gets the most attention, gets the most interaction, should be the things that are floating to the top. But they have their reasons for what they're doing. Again, Project Looking Glass, things like that allow them to peek into the future and see where the timeline is heading. These are technologies and these are backdoor meetings that are happening that a lot of us aren't privy to or can fully understand. W says, I'm loving the spiritual messages on Ascension and the new earth, Garden Eden coming, and our love light and beauty. So excited we are close. Thank you for the feedback, W. I honestly believe that we are there. I had talked about the split that has already occurred, where you have people that have truly awakened to something much bigger than what they've been used to in the past in their life. They're seeing through the thinning veil of the matrix. They're having experiences. And the thing that keeps coming back into play in my life is my overall outlook, the vibration, my intention, what I'm putting out into the world circles back quicker than ever before. Now, I really don't have any interest in just becoming like a meditative yogi and just living out in the middle of nowhere off the grid to just get in that full spiritual zone. I want to be interactive. Because my dog. I want to be interactive. I want to be out in the world. But that's kind of where this path ends up taking you, as you come to that realization that in order to be fully in that ascension path, you have to distance yourself from so many of the outside noise that you become more and more centered and more alone in your journey. And so there comes a point where you just have to figure out the balance that's right for you. And for me, I'm willing to, frequent both dimensions, if you want to call it that, and have the whole experience. Patty Lyon says the Mandela effect and synchronicities. Yep, I was just talking about that with my wife earlier, the Mandela effect. All the different nuances, everything that's happened. Every time that there is a timeline shift, there's these little changes that those with eyes to see will notice. Invisible intuitive. This isn't the timeline reality I was born in. I shifted at some point, I think 2012, 2013. 2012 was a major time. And the current year that we're in isn't actually correct. This is coming from a download that I received and intuition at the same time. But I think we're much closer to the year 2012 than we are 2025. Proof Gardens YouTube does so much to your channel, but you don't want an echo chamber. YouTube does so much to your channel. Well, because I'm going to break through it. You see? In all honesty, it's my own vibration that does it. I broke through it many times. So when it comes down, when the suppression comes down on you, when you're able to make all of these connections and see how the matrix tries to manipulate things, those are the key points in your life when you have to actually center yourself, understand your own power, understand how you view the world, and how you move forward from that point forward is extremely important. So YouTube is just a test. It's just part of the test that helps me continue to evolve. But I'll break through. You'll see. Honestly, it's not that important to me. I think that if even I'm able to reach one person, help to either maybe awaken them or offer them a certain level of comfort by offering my words, which give them a confirmation of something that they're experiencing. They might have felt very much alone, and now they can identify with somebody else who's having a similar experience. That alone can create a ripple effect. So I don't even need to see big numbers or a direct impact that I'm having. Everything that each one of us does has an impact. Now, if you're just quiet and you're sitting in your room and you're not out there doing anything in this world, you're definitely not going to be seeing the ripple effect of what you do. But YouTube doesn't have any power to suppress me. Patty Lyons, little recognition goes a long way. D-Town Queen Bee, yes, everything has been changed, including the calendar, which went from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. And I have a short on that topic. If anybody wants to check it out. Jennifer Keller, more are awakening each day from internet posts. They're able to put the pieces together. I believe you're correct. There's definitely a lot more people awakening at this time. What they do with the knowledge is one thing, because you have to apply it in order to really see a shift happen in your life. So a lot of people will gain some insights, but they really don't change anything about the way they live their lives or the way that they view the world. Linda Craft says, hi, how is your day? My day is doing great. Happy to be alive. Another day is a gift from God every single day. I thank the Lord that I am awake. I woke up, I'm breathing, I can move. I've got arms and legs and hands and feet. I can smell, I can taste. It's all a blessing. Jeanette Keller, yes, I see it with my neighbors. They are catching on to things I have mentioned. Slowly but surely. A lot of people will see things or experience things, but they still want to reflect back to their worldly view, the things they've been taught, that they've been programmed to believe. So it's the programming that is really taking the longest to change. What are you doing, Rocket? Invisible, intuitive, have to look inward before you can see the truth outside. That and You have to love yourself before you can love others. So you have to do that inner work, and you have to do the inner healing so that you can give your best self to the world and those around you. You can't skip that step. It's the dark night of the soul. Everyone's got to walk through that. But I'll tell you, from experience, once you do that work, and I'm not claiming to be done with it, it's a work in process, but one of the first things that is going to leave your body when you make the conscious decision to become your best version is fear, doubt, paranoia. A lot of people suffer with this. But once that leaves your body totally and completely, you start to feel a sense of freedom and experience a sense of freedom that you may have never had before. So fear is of the enemy. Anytime a negative thought or a fearful idea comes into your consciousness, realize that that's from the enemy. And bring yourself out of that space as quick as possible. Exercise caution in everyday life, but stay far away from the fear, the paranoia. Olivia Hodges says, tap into spiritual power of the Almighty. Hallelujah. Somebody had asked, I had mentioned in an earlier video about when my big shift started to happen. The Lord called on me, literally, loudly, and asked me to post a video on my YouTube channel, bringing his name out, giving him the glory, and just sharing Jesus with the world. Up until that point, I had done nothing outside of gardening, which is some other things like sharing with you guys, like water distillation and that sort of thing, but it had just been mainly just a gardening, homesteading channel. So I went out to the backyard and I made this video, just poured out from my heart, just declaring Jesus is King, my Lord and Savior. No weapon formed against me can prosper. If God be for me, nothing can come against me, in Jesus' mighty name. If you guys want to see that video, I'll repost. We'll do a back scroll. But here's where it gets interesting. I came inside after making the video. No editing, just put the video, had it ready to go. I uploaded it, hadn't had it posted yet. And I was struggling with posting this video. I don't know why, other than the fact that I knew that it was going to throw a lot of people for a loop, just because it was so different from everything else I ever posted. But I sat there with myself, struggling with it, thinking, do I really want to do this? And I'm hearing the Lord coming through, Daniel, post this video, post this video. And I kid you not, the second I hit post, there was an earthquake. It turned out to be a 4.3 earthquake. Shook the whole house. And every hair on my body stood up. I had goosebumps all over my whole body. Actually, I have goosebumps right now talking about it. And my hair's standing up. So, for anybody wondering, or for anybody doubting my faith in God and Jesus, you haven't been watching long enough. Olivia Hodges, and to teach you about yourself, you were planted by God. There's been several other things. Shortly after that, once again, heard the Lord coming through very strong. This is something I've never shared before. But the Lord came through very strong and was asking me to basically start my declarations and engage in spiritual warfare just by, I had a little spot in my garage. I had the mood all set right, and I'd put on instrumental worship music. I'd light some frankincense incense. I would put some anointing oil on. I would grab my staff and I would go to work, just declaring God's glory over every aspect of this life. And I was doing this every single night. And he asked me to fast for 7 days, just water. And I did that. And it was after that I had the biggest shift, the biggest change in my life. Everything that was of the negative left me. Everything. Literally I have no fear, guys, over anything. Like, I don't care about being judged. I don't fear anything. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of being suppressed. I'm not afraid of what people think of me. None of that matters. Fasting is so powerful spiritually. Absolutely. You never know exactly why you're being called to do certain things. He recently called upon me to fast again, and I did. He asked me to do 10 days, and I'll just be honest with you guys, I made it through 6 days. So, but God told me that if I did the 10 days, there was going to be an enormous gift coming my way. And the gift is still there, but I've still got to do my 10 days. So, but 6 days definitely gave me a reset, and it was good in many ways. Olivia says, fasting truly from your heart brings God, even if you fast unknowingly, like from an illness. Yeah, you never know why exactly he may be calling you to do that. It may be to eradicate a parasite or a disease or illness that's in your body, free you from that control, because parasites can affect your mind, your body, your spirit. It can really affect you negatively. So parasite cleanses are one thing, fasting is another. Five Dragonflies, reading August Dunning's The Phoenix Protocol. It's about dry fasting for rapid healing and life extension. Proof Gardens, maybe for you. Not sure you should preach that to everyone. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm just sharing my experience. You should know that. D-Town Queen Bee, sadly many suffer from disease. Yes, but if you make it your mission to gain the knowledge to find the answers, they'll show up. That's another thing I pray for all the time. And I'm recommending this to all of you guys watching this. This is a prayer that really works. Ask God to guide you to the right information, the good information, the truthful information. Ask him to guide you to that, and he will. I also pray to God that whatever it is I share be of the truth, be of the good. And if it's not, that he let me know that. Do you believe in reincarnation? Not in the sense of you die and you come back. In the same life form, in the same dimension. It's possible. I look at the earth as a classroom. And I think everybody should. You know, you walk through this life, there's a lot of programming that happens from birth. And you have to wake up to that. Break out of it. And do your best to become your best self. And through that process, you're going to be challenged in every way, shape, or form. And through that whole process, that's the classroom. But really coming into tune with who you are, what you're capable of doing, how you've been lied about your place in this universe. Phoenix says, I live in California, Central Valley, and I've been trying to see the moving stars or orbs, but haven't yet. What can you do to also see them? I don't have a protocol. I haven't asked for that download. Maybe I'll ask for some information on that. I can tell you, and this is a repeat because I've said it before, that my experiences began with, again, a loud calling. I was out in my backyard and I heard a very loud voice come through. And I know the name and I'm not going to say it. It's a galactic. Told me I was going to start witnessing and seeing things and experiencing things. And at first I wanted to kind of block it out and not listen to it. But it came through very strong. I immediately took that information, that experience to God. And God told me that it was okay for me to tune in. And we just went dark here. I think my battery's gone, guys. Anyways, if you guys can still see me, because I can't see anything now, have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. And I appreciate all the love and support. I'm wishing you guys a great rest of your day and weekend. Have a happy Labor Day. Talk to you again real soon.